Whether you're a fan of EVs or a fan of trucks, you've probably heard about GMC's reboot of the Hummer, turning the infamously gas-guzzling vehicle into an electron-eating EV. Now, I don't get to drive it today, I know, womp womp, but I am gonna get a really close look at it, and I'm gonna let you know if I think it'll off-road. And from the looks of it, I'm gonna say yeah. All right, first, let's talk tires. The Hummer has got 35-inch tires and there's room for 37s. And there's plenty of sidewall here because you've got an 18-inch wheel. And that's kind of surprising, right? I mean, I've got a big truck, it's really heavy. Usually that means big brakes, but GMC has managed to put on a smaller 18-inch wheel, which I think is pretty dope. I like the design of this wheel, but I'm not sure how functional it's gonna be. It's not a full beadlock, and having it flush right here means that the first skinny trail you get on, and I mean, this thing's over 6 feet wide, every trail is gonna be skinny, this is all just gonna get scratched to hell up. Now, normally I'm a BFG KM3 kind of gal. However, these Goodyear Wrangler tires, they're 305s, you guys. They're so wide. So when you air it down, you are sure to get plenty of traction. There is an extract mode that gets you some crazy angles. I'm talking like 16 inches of clearance, all of this ridiculous geometry all the way around, but that's really just for slow speed stuff. Most of the time, you're going to be in terrain mode, which is still really good. 11.9 inches of ground clearance, an approach angle of 44.3 degrees, departure angle of 33.7 degrees, and a breakover angle of 25.4 degrees. Now those numbers beat the all-electric Rivian R1T in everything except breakover angle. In fact, this approach angle, it's better than a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon. All right, I want to talk about these rear wheels because they will turn either in the same direction or in the opposite direction as the front wheels at up to 10 degrees. You guys, 10 degrees is a lot. That's enough to move the truck diagonally. That's right, talking about crab walk, baby. This means that tight passes like Black Bear Pass in Colorado or passes out in Moab, Utah, you're not gonna need to do a 16 million point turn to get around. All you're gonna have to do is put it in crab mode. Just bloop, you're done. As for the EV powertrain, GMC says that this Edition 1 has got 3 electric motors that produce 1,000 horsepower and 11,500 pound-feet of torque. Okay, but you guys, think about that number for a minute. Think about 11,500 pound-feet of torque. Do you really think that's gonna be the number? I mean, my guess here is that GMC is talking about wheel torque, and it's kind of the equivalent of saying that my Mazda Speed Miata makes 1,500 pound-feet of torque in second gear. I mean, yeah, it's true, but it's not really how we talk about torque. I think that the SAE is gonna rate this vehicle closer to about 1,400 pound-feet of torque, which, face it, is a hella lot of twist. And you're gonna need all of that torque, right? Because it's not like this thing's got a 2-speed transfer case, but with 1,400 pound-feet of it, we think, you should be able to just like goat trail your way up anything you want, fast or slow, while the Raptors and the Jeeps are still down at the bottom of the hill trying to figure out how to put their rig into 4-wheel drive low. And I've got 13 inches of wheel travel in both the front and the rear. So depending on how the suspension is tuned, probably gonna be able to go pretty fast through some whoops. The Hummer does have independent suspension on all 4 corners, so it's not going to give you the articulation that you would have with a solid axle and a sway bar disconnect. But with all this clearance and all of these computers and the angles, I'm really not sure it's gonna matter that much. The only problem is that if it breaks on the trail, it's gonna be a little bit difficult to fix. I mean, this is essentially a computer on wheels, and your standard off-road trail fix-it kit is just not gonna be enough. The Edition 1 has got a 200 kilowatt hour battery, which should be good for about 350 miles. But you guys, I've driven an electric truck off-road, and I can tell you right now, there is no way you're going to get all 350 miles. You're probably gonna see a range loss of about a third, so maybe 230, 250 miles off-road, but that's still really good. And some off-road hotspots here in California have got chargers nearby. I'm thinking Pismo Beach, Mojave, Barstow, Baker, and some of those are even 350 kilowatt chargers, which means that you can push 100 miles into the Hummer in just 10 minutes. So is the GMC Hummer EV going to off-road? I mean, you guys, of course it is. Have you seen it? It's going to be awesome. You're just gonna have to plan your trips carefully. Who knows, maybe you can tow charge it. I don't know. We probably won't know until we get closer to that 2021 launch date. And hopefully we'll have a good infrastructure in the next couple of years, so we'll see more EVs out on the trail. Now, if you want this Edition 1, well, too bad, reservations are gone. like that. And it might be just as well, because it's really expensive. $112,595 American dollars, but you know what? That includes destination, so you don't have to worry about that little charge. So it's totally affordable, right? However, we will get less expensive models every year after that. So in 2022, we will see the EV3X for about 100 grand. 2023, we'll see the EV2X for about 90 grand. And we'll see the base Hummer in 2024 for about $80,000. All right, you guys, what do you think? Are you all in on the EV Hummer here, or are you gonna wait for the Rivian R1T or maybe the Bollinger B2? Let me know in the comments, and as always, be sure to like and subscribe.